Hey everybody, ready for a deep dive into something you might not expect? We're taking a look at the Agile Manifesto.
Hmm.
And I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that kind of
Yeah.
old news
Oh, look.
in the tech world? Especially with all this AI stuff going around.
Yeah, you might think that, but here's the thing. This is where it gets really interesting.
Exactly. This deep dive
Yeah.
is going to show you how the Agile Manifesto is actually your secret weapon.
Hmm.
Not just for Agile, but for riding that AI wave too. It's like this hidden gem that's more relevant now than ever.
You know what's really cool about the Agile Manifesto? It's not just a bunch of rules.
Right.
It's about a way of thinking a whole approach to work.
Okay.
And a big part of that is putting people first and adapting to
I
change.
like that. So let's unpack that a bit. We've all seen companies try to go agile
Oh, yeah.
by just throwing in some new agile processes and agile tools, but their culture stays stuck in the past.
For sure.
It's like,
Yeah.
remember that great analogy in the video
I
presentation?
mean, the hammer and the screw.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Imagine you've only ever used a hammer to pound in nails.
Yeah.
Then someone hands you a screw.
Right.
What do? You try to hammer it in, of course. It's the only tool you know.
Makes sense.
And that's exactly what happens when companies try to force agile tools into a waterfall project culture.
Yep. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Total disaster.
Yeah, you get a lot of frustration, projects stall, and people start thinking that Agile just doesn't work.
Great.
But the problem isn't Agile, it's how they're approaching it.
So you're saying it's not about this huge overnight revolution.
Not at all. The Agile Manifesto is about evolving, not revolting. It's about respecting where a company already is and then gradually weaving in these new Agile values, Agile principles, and ways of working.
Okay, I like that. It's
Yeah.
like gently nudging the culture in the right direction.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the agile values themselves, because there are a lot of misconceptions out there.
Oh, for sure. People hear Agile and they think chaos. No documentation, no contracts, just winging it. But that's so far from the truth.
It's about understanding priorities.
Absolutely.
So let's start with the first value. Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. It's not saying processes and tools are bad, right?
No, they have their place, definitely.
All right.
But they need to serve the people doing the work.
Not the other way around.
Exactly.
It's like recognizing that the human mind
Right.
is the most powerful tool we have.
Absolutely. We can't let processes and tools dictate how we work. They
Right.
should help us communicate and collaborate better.
Which leads us to the second value. Working software over comprehensive documentation. Now, this one can be a little controversial,
I can see that.
but it's really about delivering value fast and in small chunks, right?
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between having enough documentation to be helpful, but not drowning in details.
Okay.
The main point is that documentation should help the work move forward, not slow it down.
I actually think this approach can lead to better documentation overall.
I agree. When you create documentation as you're doing the work, it's more accurate and useful. It becomes a living document that changes as the work changes.
Speaking of changing, let's look at the third value. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation.
Oh,
This one sometimes makes people nervous,
I can see why.
but it's all about building those strong customer relationships.
That's it. It's recognizing that the contract is just the beginning, not the end. The real magic is when you work together with your customer to solve problems and find solutions that work for everyone.
It's less about sticking to the letter of the contract
Right.
and more about treating the project like a partnership.
Exactly. And that's especially important with those complex projects where things are always changing.
Which takes us to the final agile value. Responding to change over following a plan. Now, this doesn't mean we just throw planning out the window, does it?
No. Planning is still super important in Agile, but it recognizes that plans need to change as new information comes up. It's about being flexible and responding to change instead of clinging to a plan that doesn't work anymore.
That makes sense. And in today's world, being able to adapt quickly is more important than ever.
Absolutely. Things change all the time, and we need to be able to shift gears as needed.
And that's what the Agile Manifesto gives us. The ability to navigate change effectively.
Totally.
Now, before we go deeper, I'm curious, can you already see how these agile values could apply to areas beyond just software development?
I think it's becoming pretty clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
These values are really about how we approach work and collaborate in a world that's always changing and getting more complex.
Right.
They're a framework for dealing with change and finding success in any field.
And that's where things get really interesting. Because if we think about the challenges of integrating AI into our lives and work, we can start to see how the Agile Manifesto could be an incredibly valuable guide.
Yes, the connections are definitely there.
Yeah.
And we'll dig into those connections more in just a bit. But first, if you're finding this helpful,
Yes.
you might want to check out the full video presentation for a deeper dive into the Agile Manifesto. You'll find the link in the description.
Okay, now let's get back to this idea of the Agile Manifesto as a guide for the AI revolution. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, but
It might seem that way at first, but if you think about it, the world is buzzing about AI, and for good reason. But just like with any major tech shift, there's a lot of uncertainty swirling around, even some fear about what it all means.
it's like we're all standing on the edge of this uncharted territory, not quite sure what to expect or what tools to bring.
Exactly, and that's where the Agile Manifesto can provide a compass and some sturdy boots for this journey, because at its core, it's really a framework for navigating complexity and embracing change, which is exactly what we need with AI.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But how does a document about software development help us with something as big as the AI revolution?
Well, let's revisit that first agile value we talked about, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. This is incredibly important when it comes to integrating AI into our work and lives.
Because AI is ultimately a tool,
Right.
a super powerful one, but still a tool.
Precisely. And like any tool, it's crucial that we use it thoughtfully and intentionally. AI shouldn't be dictating our lives or our work.
We need to remember that AI should be designed to serve humans, not the other way around.
Absolutely. And that requires us to shift our thinking. We need to move away from this fear that AI will replace humans. Instead, what if we embraced it as a collaborator, a partner?
So instead of worrying about robots taking our jobs, maybe we should be exploring how AI can help us work better. Maybe even free us up to focus on more creative and meaningful things.
Exactly. And that's where those agile values of collaboration and adaptation really come into play. We need to figure out how to work effectively alongside AI systems, learn from them, and adapt as they evolve.
It's almost like we need to become agile ourselves to really thrive in an AI-powered world.
You could say that we need to be open to new ways of working. Be flexible and adaptable in the face of change, which, let's face it, can be a bit daunting for people.
Definitely. Change can be scary, especially when we're talking about something as potentially disruptive as AI.
Absolutely. But the Agile Manifesto reminds us that change is inevitable. And the best way to handle it is to embrace it with open arms and a willingness to learn and adapt.
And to remember that we're not in this alone. The Agile values really emphasize collaboration and communication. We need to navigate the AI landscape together as a team.
Exactly. We need to share our knowledge and experiences, learn from each other's wins and fails. We need to build a community around AI, just like the Agile community has done for software development.
Because at the end of the day, AI is a human endeavor. It's a reflection of our creativity, our ingenuity, and our values.
And as we move forward, we need to make sure that AI aligns with those human values, that it's enhancing our lives and making the world a better place.
So we've been talking about the bigger picture, but how does the Agile Manifesto offer more practical guidance for actually integrating AI?
It definitely does. Let's consider the value of working software over comprehensive documentation. This is particularly relevant with AI since it's such a rapidly changing field.
So you're saying if we get bogged down trying to create the perfect documentation for an AI system that's constantly evolving, we'll never get anything done.
Exactly. We need to be able to iterate, quickly test, learn, and adapt as we go. This might mean we let go of the need for super detailed upfront documentation to get a working system into the hands of users faster.
So it's about finding that balance between having enough documentation to be helpful without letting it stall progress.
Exactly. And it's a similar idea with customer collaboration over contract negotiation. In the AI world, things are often too complex and uncertain to be neatly captured in a rigid contract.
That makes sense. So we need to collaborate more closely with our clients and partners, define problems together, explore potential solutions, and iterate until we find what works.
You got it. And this requires trust and transparency. We need to be upfront about what we know, what we don't know, and what we're still figuring out.
Because AI isn't a destination. It's a journey. And we need to be prepared to adapt and change direction along the way.
Which brings us back to perhaps the most important lesson the Agile Manifesto offers for navigating the AI revolution. Embracing change and being adaptable.
The only constant is change, right?
Exactly. And the more comfortable we are with change, the better equipped we'll be to thrive in this exciting new world of AI.
We've covered a lot of ground here, and I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of the Agile Manifesto and its connection to AI.
We have, but I think we've laid a solid foundation for understanding how these agile principles can help us navigate this new frontier.
And if you're eager to dive even deeper, I highly recommend checking out that video presentation we mentioned earlier.
It's full of even more insights and practical examples of how to apply the Agile Manifesto to your own work.
And remember, the Agile Manifesto isn't just about software development. It's about cultivating a mindset that embraces collaboration, adaptation, and continuous learning.
And that mindset is more relevant now than ever in our rapidly evolving world.
The Agile Manifesto might just be the unexpected key to unlocking the full potential of the AI revolution. It's a guide to navigating complexity, embracing change, and building a future where humans and AI can thrive together.
And who knows, it could be the starting point for a whole new way of working, thinking, and being in the world.
I love that. So much to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and look at how some of the specific Agile principles outlined in the manifesto can give us even more practical guidance for successfully integrating AI.
Great idea. And I think you'll find that some of these principles offer surprisingly direct insights into how to approach this challenge effectively.
Okay, so we've talked about these big picture Agile values.
Right.
But the Agile Manifesto goes deeper than that, right? It has these 12 Agile principles
Yeah.
that really get into the nuts and bolts.
It's like going from the why to the how. The values set the scene, and the Agile principles give you the tools to actually make it happen.
Yeah.
And when it comes to AI, some of these principles are really spot on.
So you're saying these Agile principles can give us some practical advice for actually integrating AI the right way?
Absolutely. For example, the first principle is all about early and continuous delivery of valuable work.
Okay.
Now, think about that when it comes to AI. It means focusing on building AI systems that actually do something useful quickly, even if they're not perfect right away.
So getting those AI solutions out there fast so you can start getting feedback and making changes based on how people are actually using it.
Exactly. That way you can keep up with changing needs and make sure those AI systems are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
It seems like that could also help people trust AI more.
Right.
They can see the value it's delivering instead of just hearing promises.
I agree. Seeing is believing. And another important principle is welcoming changing requirements, even late in development. Now, that might sound a little strange at first, but it's really key for AI projects because there are always so many unknowns.
It makes sense when you think about how fast AI is changing.
Right.
We're dealing with technologies and applications that are constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to change course when you learn something new is critical.
Exactly. This principle tells us to be okay with that uncertainty and think of change as an opportunity, not a threat. It's all about building flexibility into the whole AI development process so you're ready for anything.
And that connects with another principle. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project.
Oh, that one's crucial.
When we're talking about AI, this means close collaboration between the people who understand the business and the tech experts who are actually building the AI solutions.
Yeah, because AI isn't just about the technology itself, right? It's about solving real problems for businesses and people.
Right. So developers can't just be off in their own world. They need to be talking constantly with the people who get the business side.
Right.
So they know how to use AI to reach those business goals.
And when you work together like that, you're also more likely to build AI systems that are ethical and responsible.
I see.
That reflect the values of the organizations and communities they're serving.
That's a great point. Speaking of values, there's one Agile principle that really jumps out at me when it comes to AI.
Okay, which one?
Build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done.
That's a powerful one. It's all about empowering the people working on these AI projects.
It's about creating a culture where people feel valued and supported and excited to do their best work. And that feels even more important now with AI.
Absolutely, because building AI systems that are ethical and responsible takes more than just technical skills. You need people who really understand human values and how these technologies will impact our lives.
You need people who are passionate about using AI for good and building systems that benefit everyone.
Exactly. And the Agile Manifesto, with its emphasis on people and collaboration and continuous learning, gives us a framework for creating that kind of environment.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Agile Manifesto, it's pretty clear that this document is a lot to teach us about navigating the AI revolution.
Yeah, it's surprising how relevant it still is.
It's a reminder that technology is a tool, and we have to use it responsibly.
Right.
It encourages us to be open to change,
Mm.
to collaborate, to never stop learning, and most importantly, to put people at the heart of everything we do with AI.
Well said. It reminds us that we have the power to shape the future of AI with the choices we make.
So let's make those choices carefully,
Yes,
ethically, and with the goal of building an AI-powered future that works for everyone.
I like that. And if this conversation has got you thinking more about the Agile Manifesto and its connection to AI, definitely check out that video presentation we talked about.
Yep, the link is right here in the description, along with some other resources that you might find helpful.
Great.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. See you soon.